Yo, 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 what is going on, my beautiful brothers and sisters, fellow radiators of love? My name is Jamal Pope, aka J Phoenix, and this is going to be your astrology forecast for Friday, October 20th of 2023. Thanks so much for joining me in this video. Hopefully you guys are having a wonderful week so far, navigating these energies like we all are, and doing your best to continue to maintain vibrational integrity. Let's hop into the transits for today, shall we, beloved? All right, so today is going to present a bit of a challenge. That's the end of the week. We'll see what news comes out, but in your personal life, you can definitely expect, there's going to be a little bit of tension and stuff like that. And that mainly is the fact that we do now, as you can see, have Mercury and the Sun traveling very close together. They've already gone through their conjunction, but they will be conjuncting still throughout the day. So we're still going to be feeling this energy. Now, what we're going to see is a Sun and a Mercury at 27 degrees make a square over to Pluto, which is now direct at 27 degrees. Now, when I say square, I want you to think of the word tension. It brings up tension. Doesn't necessarily mean that there's going to be conflict. It just means that there is certainly a potential for conflict. And let me tell you, because it's the Sun and Mercury involved here, this is a moment that's ripe for conflict. Let's just go ahead and say that right now. This is definitely it's a very interesting energy. So, and there's something else that's been happening kind of in the background for the last while now. It's been going on for the last little bit. There's this sort of weird tingling sensation that we all have where we're wondering, when is the shoe going to drop? When is that big thing going to happen that's going to change the world? That big event that's going to rock the whole world and is going to shift things forever. It's been sitting in the back like a symptom that will just kind of come up every so often, like a little cough or a little tickle in the throat or something like that, or a little bit of, or like a little headache or something. It's just sitting back there, right? That is the loose T-square that we have been dealing with for a while now, with Pluto and the nodes. And we have Eris with the north node too. Yes, it's a 3-degree orb, but it is still there. It is still present. And like I said, because this influence is a little bit on the weaker side, it's just been hanging out in the background for a bit. Just hanging out there, right? Let's just go back. Let's just take it back to just show you how long we've been kind of dealing with this energy, right? Let's go back a month, right? Okay, we go back a month. All right, well, the nodes were at 25 degrees. Okay, let's go back another month. All right, well, the nodes are 26, 25 here with Eris, and 28. So it's still a 2-degree orb, right? Let's go back another month. All right, well, we do have Pluto here at 29 degrees. Now, this was when it was happening exact back in July, right? This was back when Venus was actually about to do its retrograde, right? Venus was about to retrograde here. So that was a major moment, right? And let's go back another one, right? And we do have, this is the other side of it where they were still square, but this is kind of where it began, right? Back in June, right? Venus was trying to catch up to Mars back here. We had the moon that was actually opposing Pluto at least on June 20th, right? The sun was about to ingress into Cancer, so we were at the summer solstice, right? And we had the nodes here at 2 degrees, right? And Pluto is squaring the nodes here. Yes, it's a 3-degree orb, a little less than 3 degrees, like, maybe 2.5. But that's the kind of energy that we are in right now. And Pluto has been squaring these nodes for a while. If you just go back like another month, then that's when it's a little bit looser. But as you can see, 016, 0355, I would say that we've been pretty much in this energy since mid-June. And it's pretty, I'll say like mid-June, we've been pretty much in this energy, right? And you got to remember back to then, Venus was in Leo trying to feel good and trying to catch up to Mars, but it won't catch up to Mars, right? So that's the thing about this. Now, we are in this energy again, but on the other side, right? So that's the thing about this. These energies, they were shifted. The nodes were in Scorpio and Taurus, right? Whereas Pluto was in Aquarius. Now we are dealing with this energy in cardinal energy. And because this has been going on for such a long time and it's just been sort of in the background, generally you need another planet highlighting things to kind of reinvigorate that point, to reinvigorate that aspect. What do we have with it today? The Sun and Mercury hitting it pretty hard and definitely invigorating that aspect, especially with the Sun bringing these things to light. And with Mercury, which is going to be about information, but also there's a fair amount of trickery that is here too. That's the thing about it. So now that Mercury has moved past the Sun, right? It's no longer going to rise before the Sun, right? It's going to rise after the Sun. So that's the thing about this. It's going to disappear, actually. So now there's a bit of a trickery kind of energy that's going to be kind of revved up with Mercury. And with these energies, like I said, yeah, it's not quite on the South Node, but they are in square to Pluto. They are within tension with Pluto. And since this energy, like I said, it's just sort of like dangling back here, right? It's sort of like, it's like a fly, if you will, that you can't seem to get, or that mosquito that you can't seem to get, or like just that, that itch that you can't scratch that does continue to come back. And it doesn't seem like we can't really seem to relieve ourselves of this. Now, today, the Sun brings this tension to light, right? Mercury is going to give us some information about it. And then we have to be very discerning, right? On how we act based on, hold on, let me move this back to hours. We have to be very discerning on how we act in this time. And we need to be careful not to pick sides. We need to be careful here because if we lack the discernment, then we can find ourselves getting washed away by the current. And I remember like these energies, it's not an exact quincunx to Neptune, but it's still that energy is kind of loosening up and stuff, but it's still kind of in the background. But the fact that they're in square to Pluto, it just really activates a lot. It's sort of like we get this tension with Pluto, the executioner, if you will, in Capricorn, where it's like, in many ways, it does feel, you're going to probably feel like, okay, the world really isn't fair. It just feels like those that have it are trying to get even more. And it's like they're trying to get rid of the small guy, and they're trying to kill all the sense of balance in the world, where everything and all the resources are seemingly coalescing into a select few areas, and everyone gets left out. And it's like this game of musical chairs. And it's like you have 100 people playing with 5 chairs, or something happens where it's like now maybe it was 10 chairs, and then they took away 5 chairs and gave it to another country, and then you're like, we have even less to play with. This is this can frustrate people, and because this exactly is happening, because that is happening, even though it is loose, Neptune's going to be like, oh yeah, think about this, consider this, right? We have the moon here in Capricorn, and the moon, it does something nice today. It makes a grand earth trine with Venus and Jupiter, right? Yeah, it's not exact, but we still have this grand Earth trine. Beautiful, harmonious energy. The only problem is that the moon is at detriment in Capricorn, and Venus is at fall in Virgo, and Jupiter doesn't necessarily mind Taurus, but it's retrograde. Talk about a medicine that does not taste good, but will heal your ass if you allow it to. You have to ask yourself though, are you willing to take this medicine though? Because it does not necessarily, this is a medicine that's not going to taste good. I'm just going to be upfront with you. It's going to be a medicine that does not taste good. This is something though where you almost have to kind of like develop your taste for this, if you will. You know what I'm saying? This is like when I had like my green powder and the smoothies, whatever like that. I had like this green powder that I used to get. Well, actually, I can show you guys what it looks like. I think I still have it. I'm almost done with it, mind you. I'm almost done with this. I gotta get another one. I don't know if I'll get this exact brand, but a lot of them kind of taste the same. But I have like this plant bio greens thing, mainly because despite the fact that I do enjoy vegetables. There's a lot of vegetables I do enjoy. I just don't necessarily eat them every day. So I will drink my vegetables. Now, this thing does not taste good. It's essentially grass. That's kind of what it is. And I'll mix it in with juice and different things like that. But it still doesn't taste good, even when I mix it in with that. Sometimes I just mix it in with water, you know what I mean? And I just deal with it because the taste is temporary, but the solution that it provides is has more permanence. And if you become consistent with it, then you start to see some positive effects. Now, what we get caught up on a lot of times is the taste of something, the taste of a situation, the taste of an argument. And then we take that taste and we blow that part up instead of looking at the solution and the outcome of things. That's what you have to kind of remember. This is why it's super important to not just jump the gun right now, to not just, you know, blow things up to the point where it's like, okay, like you get a little bit of information and then you take that and you just run with it without having all of the information, without resting on it, without sleeping on it too. That's the other thing about this. But because this energy, it's because it's happening in Libra, happening in Aries, and then we have a Pluto and we have a moon in Capricorn. The solution to this doesn't necessarily taste good, but it will heal your ass. It will fortify you and it will make you stronger to deal with the onslaught of energies that are coming. We are in between eclipses right now, so the energy is a little bit more sensitive, right? And, it's interesting too. So, like, you know, if you watch this channel and if you know other astrologers, it's probably no surprise to you that I'm inspired by the Leo King, right? And he came up with that term in between eclipses because that wasn't a thing before he said it. And honestly, the way I think about it, it makes sense. The energy between eclipses definitely feels more sensitive. It feels otherworldly. It feels like you're almost in like a purgatorial state. And it's like, it's an opportunity for us to kind of become lucid in the dream, but at the same time, it does feel like we're just in jello. You know what I mean? So this jello feeling right now, where it's like something that could happen on this side of the jello world can actually start to affect us and we can move. We may not be moving as much as what's going on over there, but we can kind of feel a little bit too. Now, depending upon our vibration, depending upon how we're feeling, depending upon our integrity, we can allow even just the smallest shake to be like, oh my God, I'm moving all over the place like this. Like that's kind of, we can let it do that to us if we get really psyched out, if we psych ourselves out. That's the thing about this. So we have to take all of this information that's coming at us, all of these signals, and ask ourselves, what is this signaling? What is this telling me? Right? Instead of responding and reacting to the surface aspect of that signal, the signal itself, you need to ask yourself, what is this telling me? So this is going to be a great day to ask yourself anything that may come up, especially when it comes to news and the external world and the world at large. Ask yourself, what is this telling me? And in your personal life, if these sort of things come up, like I said, with a sun traveling with Mercury as they square over to Pluto, because the Pluto is the executioner, this is definitely one of those moments where it's going to be like, yo, there are going to be certain things in our life we're going to have to see where we may have to make certain cuts and we may have to execute certain things from our life so we can strengthen the relationship that we have with ourselves, strengthen the relationship that we have with our loved ones, our partners, our kids, God. I channeled something yesterday while talking to my dad, right? And this was profound to me, right? This is profound to me. And it was about the relationship that we have with God, right? And I feel like the relationship that you have with God oftentimes mimics the relationship that you have with your parents. Now, I think it's also the reverse, but typically it mimics the relationship that you have with your parents. When you were born, when you were a baby, your parents are God, pretty much, right? Because without them, you will not survive. If your baby was simply just born in the middle of the woods, more than likely it's going to die. More than likely, right? So, in the very rare circumstances, it may somehow survive if an animal with enough intelligence comes by and takes care of the baby, but this isn't Tarzan, okay? So, more than likely, the baby's gonna die, right? So, your parents are God, right? Now, your relationship as with your parents shifts as you grow older for the most part, right? So, it's like you'll ask for something and then you receive it, or maybe you don't receive it, but generally all of your needs are freaking met. You can just ask God for things, you can ask your parents for things, and generally those things will be met, right? Now, it should evolve to a point when, like in your teenage years, you start to kind of rebel against your parents. So you typically start to rebel against God at some point, right? And then, once you hit adulthood, a young adulthood, and especially I would say like your late 20s and stuff like that, going into your 30s, this is the point in a relationship with your parents, which it should evolve to the point where, your parents are more like that guide, but they don't, and you're still their child, but they don't necessarily talk to you like a child. And it's more of like a guidance thing. And you could ask your parents for things, but it's more so of a, you know, it's not like they're just going to manifest things for you, right? You kind of have to do things, right? You kind of have to be a bit of an adult and pick yourself up, right? And then, of course, it evolves to the point where my dad is with his dad. It's definitely more of like that reverence that he has for his father. All of the years, all of the experience and the wisdom and everything like that. And he's doing more for his dad than vice versa, right? But there's still that reverence and that giving back to his father, giving back to God. That's where we go from there. And then it kind of comes back full circle, and it's almost like you're a child again, and God's taking care of you in that aspect too. But it's different from when you were a child, like child, when you were young, right? And that's generally how the relationship with God changes over time, over the course of a lifetime. Now, where most people mess up, and the reason why most people fail to manifest things, and why the relationship with God is fractured, if you will, is because they stay in that preliminary state. We have grown people out here treating God as if they were still a 10-year-old child and God is their parent. So they'll still be asking God for candy bars when they go into the store and stuff. And then when God says no, and they throw a tantrum about it. But how do you look being 30, 40, 50, 60, throwing a tantrum because God didn't give you a candy bar? Now, this is a metaphor, and hopefully you guys are catching this. My point is that at some point your relationship with God shifts as you grow. And unfortunately, a lot of people, the reason why there's some discord in the world and why they can't seem to manifest, or why they have a bad relationship with God, is because they either are stuck in the relationship where they're still asking God for everything. And like as I said, I don't doubt the power of prayer. I just feel like it's coming from a place where it's like, God, please give me this thing for Christmas. You know, it's either stuck in that or it's stuck in the rebellion phase. But I'll take my relationship with my dad, for example, right? We talk a lot, I don't ask really my dad for anything. If anything, I talk to him, so I talk my thoughts out with him, so I could get some guidance, but we can bounce ideas off of each other, and we can grow our relationship and grow our understanding of this world and this universe. Essentially, we're like philosophizing to each other, and he'll provide me with certain things too, but it's more like a guidance thing. And it's like my appreciation for my dad and my gratitude for my dad continues to grow every single day. So that relationship that I have with them is reflected in my relationship with God, where I'm at the point now where it's more of like I appreciate God. My reverence for God is growing by the day and stuff. And I'm not necessarily asking God for too much right now, but I'm knowing that I want to be able to give back to my dad when he hits my grandfather's age. I want to be able to take care of him and give back to him and show him my appreciation. So I kind of have to kick it up in gear right now. You know what I mean? So, and simultaneously, I want to give back to God. I want to be able to be that spiritual server. I want to be able to lift my vibration, maintain vibrational integrity, and give back to this world, because God has given me so much, given me, a beautiful family. Even though my family has been fractured, I have a great relationship with both of my parents. I have a beautiful wife. I have a place to call home. I have this amazing, cool little cat over here. I have you guys here. I have this gift of interpreting the stars and bringing that to you guys. I have so much to be grateful for. So I am in the mode right now where I need to crank up the work, the spiritual work, the light work, so I can be able to give back. And that's how your relationship with God should shift over time. But I think a lot of people are stuck in the relationship with God, where God is the parent and they are like a child that's like 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, right? Throwing temper tantrums and asking for things. And yeah, your parent will probably give it to you, but it's not like you actually really worked for it, right? We are in the period now where we are having to work for it. And a lot of people don't want to do the work. They don't want to do the Earth game. They don't want to do the Taurus game. They don't want to do the Virgo game. They don't want to do the Capricorn game. But at least we get this medicine today. May not taste good, or it could be like a supplement, right? It may not taste good, but damn it, it will make you feel better in the long run. And the taste doesn't last forever. Eventually the taste goes out of your mouth, right? Let's get into the cards. Let's see what we got. And it's interesting too, because that whole metaphor I talked about with the relationship with God, I think that's something that I think there are moments where, like I think there are like cycles within cycles. So you have like different seasons of the relationship with God, but then there are cycles within that season. So I definitely have had cycles within this current season of my relationship with God where I was definitely more like that child, right? That 5-year-old that was crying because something happened to me, and I just want to be held and hold and just comforted and stuff like that. And I think that's okay. That's natural. But it's whether or not we extend that relationship with God and we let it become like the whole of our relationship with God, when it's supposed to be just a cycle within a cycle. You know what I mean? So just to kind of clarify that too, because yeah, there are going to be moments where it feels tough. It feels rough. And you have to go to your knees and pray and stuff like that. That's going to happen in life, Um, Well, I mean, let's just be real. How many people go to church every Sunday and they're constantly up at the front and they're asking for something and they're constantly there every week? They got some new drama that they're bringing to God's doorstep every single freaking week. And it's like, you haven't done anything about it. You haven't done anything to change your situation. Or are you just going to ask God to fix all your problems for you? There's an element of co-creative energy here, and we have to step up to the plate and swing. We can't just expect God to swing for us all the time. We have to take a swing at that ball, right? I know it's a fastball, I know it's a curveball, but we got to take that swing. Ten of Swords in reverse. Ten of Swords in reverse. I'm telling you, like it's going to feel like we kind of been backstabbed by life. It's going to feel like there's some endings here. It's going to feel, and what's interesting about this is that at least this isn't abrupt. Like I said, this is the more like that subtle energy of Pluto that's been squaring the nodes for months, and now the Sun and Mercury meet up with this energy, reactivating it, re-aggravating that tension, if you will. We also have the Empress in reverse. We got the Empress in reverse again this week, right? I'm telling you. So we do get some sort of medicine, some type of supplement. It's just not going to taste good. It's just simply not going to taste good. But we have to ask ourselves, what is the long-term vision? Are we going to get stuck in the short term of this for short-term gain, for short-term, sustenance? Are we looking for something in the short term to satiate our desires, our appetites, or this is more like a long-term thing? Don't look for the short-term solutions. Look for the long-term solutions. We do have the High Priestess here too. So you actually have the intuition. I feel like today is going to be one of those days where some type of message definitely comes through. And it's going to let you know is that, first of all, you have all of the things that you already need right now. You don't need anything else per se right now. You can manifest those things, but you don't really need anything else. You have everything right now. It's just whether or not you're going to listen to your intuition, listen to your gut, and trust that you are connected to the divine. Trust that you can be that co-creator in your life and manifest the life that you really want. And that's the thing too, is that I think the life that we really want is starting to shift right now, because since the world is shifting, a lot of things are happening right now, and the world is never going to look the same. We have to also be okay with what that looks like and where that's going, and kind of let go a bit and let God. You know what I'm saying? So Ten of Swords in reverse, I mean, feels upright. This is definitely like an abrupt ending. Ten of Swords in reverse, this is like it's already happened, and it's almost like we're mourning it. Well, it's time to stop crying over spilled milk. All right, we've been mourning for quite a while now. It's time to take that medicine, take that supplement, and actually decide to heal. If anything today, decide to heal. That is the first step. That's going to do it for your astrology forecast today. I hope that you all enjoyed it. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. I definitely appreciate it. If you'd like to have a personal reading with me, beloved, you can follow the link in the description below to my website, jphoenix.com. And as always, y'all take care, stay blessed, have a wonderful Friday. I'll see you guys on the weekend astrology forecast. Peace.